Etitano Nadil Kaleli wa Mangwana ni Mwalelepo Vukenjani Kleklas Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Berry and Diana Master.
Yes,
please.
Let's get into what you can expect in today's broadcast. Last known speaker fights to preserve South African indigenous language. 9 die, 80 ill in unknown northern Kenya outbreak. Niger intercepts nearly 1,400 Boko Haram followers. We're also going to be crossing over to Zambia to speak to Mr. Mike Sichula, who will keep us updated with all the latest news at that side. Stick around, we'll be back with our top stories after this break.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
We start off our top stories in Niger, where nearly 1,400 jihadists from the group Boko Haram have been intercepted fleeing into Niger following clashes with the rival Islamic State group, according to the army. The exodus with southeastern Niger started in March when the Islamic State West Africa province pursued Boko Haram in its first hideout of Sambisa, northeastern Niger. Niger's armed forces have so far caught 1,397 people, many of them women and children, according to a statement from the army's southeastern region. Now, Boko Haram launched a bloody campaign in northeastern Nigeria in 2009 that has left over 40,000 dead and displaced around 2 million from their homes, according to UN figures. Now, it became globally notorious in 2014 for abducting 276 schoolgirls in the town of Chibok. But the group split in 2016, giving birth to ISWAP, which now dominates in a fratricidal conflict. Now, the Boko Haram followers were trying to reach the marshlands of the vast Lake Chad region, whose islands have long been a botthole for jihadists.
9 die, 80 ill in unknown northern Kenya outbreak. At least 9 people have died and more than 80 others hospitalized from a mysterious disease in northern Kenya's Marsabit County. A local administrator said out of the 9 people who have died, 6 were adults and 3 were children between 1 and 3 years. Most of the affected people exhibited flu-like symptoms, yellow eyes, a swollen spleen and severe headaches, local media reported. Some patients have tested positive for malaria, but medics say visceral leishmaniasis, also known as Kala-Azar disease, cannot be ruled out. Visceral leishmaniasis is characterized by irregular bouts of fever, weight loss, enlargement of the spleen and liver, and anemia. It can be fatal if left untreated in over 95% of cases, according to the World Health Organization. The outbreak comes 2 months after the Kenya Medical Research Institute detected an invasive mosquito species in Leishmaniasis and Saku areas of Marsabit County.
Now, one of Africa's premier wildlife areas has been targeted for oil exploration. Shalom Mining has applied to explore for oil and gas in Mana Pools, which has been designated as a World Heritage Site by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, according to a notice in the Zimbabwean government gazette. Mana Pools lies on the southern bank of the Zambezi River that serves as the border between Zimbabwe and Zambia. The river braids across a floodplain, attracting wildlife and serving as the site of a number of luxury lodges that charge $1,000 a night. The heritage site covers 676,600 hectares, spanning the Mana Pools National Park, Sapi and Chewora Safari areas. The area is home to a remarkable concentration of wild animals, including elephants, buffalo, leopards and cheetahs, and Shalom has applied for an exploration license over an area of 130,000 hectares, and any objections will need to be lodged by 19 May, the Mining Affairs Board said in the notice.
Now, keeping with Zimbabwe to U-turn over medical purchase information ban. Zimbabwe's president has withdrawn an information ban on how the state procures medical and other supplies. It followed an outcry after the government's gazette, the official publication notifying the public about its actions and decisions, announced last Friday it was no longer going to make the information available. Critics accused the government of fostering an environment that allowed corruption to flourish. President Emmerson Mnangagwa has now distanced himself from the controversial notice, saying it was placed without authorization and the government was committed to transparency, though crossed wires appear to be at play. Earlier on Wednesday, government spokesperson Nick Mangwana defended the ban, saying it was to allow the purchase of emergency supplies and critical equipment repairs without a long-drawn procurement process.
All right, now when she was a girl in South Africa's Northern Cape, Katrina Esau stopped speaking her mother tongue, Nku. I hope I got it right, I'm sure I didn't. Now, after being mocked by other people and told it was an ugly language, instead she spoke Afrikaans, the language promoted by South Africa's white minority rulers. Now at age 90, she is the last known speaker of the language, one of a group of indigenous languages in South Africa that have been all but stamped out by the impacts of colonialism and apartheid. Later, as an adult, Esau realized the importance of preserving her mother tongue and founded a school in her hometown of Uppington to try and pass it on. Now, the language was spoken by one of many hunter-gatherer groups that populated southern Africa before the arrival of European colonizers. These indigenous people spoke dozens of languages in the San family, many of which have gone extinct.
That brings us to the end of our top stories. After the break, we cross over to Zambia and we speak to Mr. Mike Sichula. Stay tuned.
To another exciting episode of Morning-12.
Hier is die weer en vertel ook vir julle waar die vis julle mondelik gaan byt.
All right, we're going to get straight into the news stories with Mike Sichula in Zambia, and the political bickering to me right now is starting to sound a little bit like the Botswana situation between the current president and the former president. Why? Because the opposition PF is accusing the government of having withdrawn state security from the residence of former President Edgar Lungu. Is this a revenge mission or is there more to the story? Mike Sichula, please get into it.
Thank you very much, Africa. Good morning. So the background to this story is that the other week, police had raided the residence of the former president looking for vehicles reported to have been stolen. So it was during that period that police, according to information that I've gathered, discovered that the former president had more security than required. So constitutionally, the office of the former president is supposed to be availed with 3 police officers. But in the case of Mr. Edgar Lungu, the number of police officers was more than 3. The pictures that you are seeing there, those are the youths who had gone to provide security to the residence of Mr. Lungu across the road when they heard that security had been withdrawn. So they spent the night outside and outside that house trying to provide security. So police have, however, responded to say the officers that were deployed to the residence of Mr. Lungu were redeployed to other duties, and 3 new officers have been deployed to Mr. Lungu. But Mr. Lungu, from the information that we have gathered, he has refused to accept those officers, not until the police issues an official communication to his office as the 6th president of Zambia.
All right, now moving on, French President Emmanuel Macron is confident that Zambia's debt restructuring deal should be concluded before June. Let's get into this.
Yes, Mr. Macron says France will work together with all creditors to ensure the debt restructuring for Zambia is done. So President Hichilema, who has been in Europe since the time he attended the coronation of the United Kingdom king, he has traveled to France where he held this meeting. So during that meeting, after the meeting, the French president said everything, according to what is done, everything should be conclusively be dealt with before the June summit for a new world financial pact. So this is something that President Hichilema has described as fruitful, and Mr. Hichilema has also emphasized the importance of closing debt talks and asked France to use its role to ravage the Paris Club and the G20 Creditors Committee to ensure that the speedy conclusion of the debt restructuring for Zambia.
All right, very interesting indeed. Now, in other news, could you tell us about the nullification of the results of 9,000 candidates?
Yes, this is something that the Examination Council of Zambia has done, not the first time, but they've done it several times. So the latest one is that the Examinations Council of Zambia has nullified results for over 9,000 candidates from the 2022 examinations countrywide for various malpractices. So the Examination Council of Zambia has been fighting tooth and nail to ensure that examination malpractices are curtailed. So every time there are exams, there are a number of intelligence systems that the examining body puts across. So they have discovered that 9,000 candidates from the 2022 exams did conduct themselves in examination malpractices, and their results have been nullified. So 11 centers have since been suspended for 2 years, while 24 teachers who are involved in the malpractices have been reported to the Ministry of Education for disciplinary action. So this is something that the ECZ Executive Director, Michael Chirala, said at a media briefing in Lusaka recently. So something that has taken 24 teachers to task, and probably those teachers may be dismissed from employment.
All right, now moving over to some sports news. Football icon Kalusha Bwalia will coach the Chipolopolo Legends in an exhibition match against Barcelona Legends next month. Tell us about this.
This is a football match that has been organized by the Ministry of Sports and Africa Unite, a movement that promotes tourism. So according to the lineup of the situation is that the winning 2012 African champions, Zambian players, are going to be the ones that will feature in this match. And since Karushawara then was the Football Association of Zambia president, is going to be the coach. And some of the headliners in this match, you're talking about Ronaldinho, you're talking about Patrick Kluivert, you're talking about all the big guns that had featured for Barcelona sometime around that period are going to come to Zambia. In the picture there, you can see the Minister of Information and the Minister of Sports, and also the organizers of this match during a media briefing. So Minister of Sport Evans Kangwa has called on all private entities in Zambia to take center stage in promoting the organizing of the match that will be played to mark Africa Freedom Day on 25th of May this year. So this is a big event, and there in the picture, retired FIFA referee Jan Sikazo is going to be the center referee during this match. So it's a high-profile match that has been organized, and it is expected that after this, Zambian tourism is going to be on another stage, depending on how the outcome of this match is going to be.
Well, I'm not sure how much Zambia tourism can depend on the whole world, but you can trust me to be there to watch Ronaldinho. I mean, I'm not sure I'll be there, but you can trust that I'll be there. Thank you very much, Mike, for bringing us the news stories from Zambia.
Thank you very much, Africa. Good morning. Do have a lovely weekend.
We certainly hope to do so. Now, today is a special day, and would like to wish the founding father of Namibia, Dr. Sam Nujoma, a happy birthday. We also had the pleasure of interviewing him on Namibia's 33rd Independence Day. Have a look.
We are joined with His Excellency, the founding president of Namibia, Dr. Sam Nujoma. Thank you so much for your time. Namibia is celebrating 33 years of independence. What is your message for the Namibians out there?
I'm delighted that Namibia is celebrating 33 years of our hard-won freedom and the genuine independence. On this historic milestone, allow me on behalf of the veteran of our national liberation struggle. The Nyoma family, and did on my own behalf, to convey my warmest congratulations to the government and people of Namibia on our country's 33rd independence anniversary. Indeed, Namibia has made impressive advances in its development since that momentous day of the attainment of our freedom and the genuine independence on the 21st March 1990. In this regard, this celebration allows for a reflection of the many achievements and the significant progress made during the course of our history. The resilience, courage, and the unity of the Namibian people have been the qualities so necessary for our country to overcome the challenges of these relatively early years of our nationhood. This year's theme, A People United for Prosperity, therefore reflects the determination of our people to soldier on in the face of challenges and take up our country to greater heights as a united people. As I always say, a united people striving to achieve common good for all members of the society will always emerge victorious.
Dr. Nyoma, are you proud of the Namibia you had a hand in creating, or what could we have done differently 33 years ago?
Since the dawn of our freedom and genuine independence on the 21st March 1999, we have taken giant steps and made significant and undeniable progress in responding to the basic needs of our people. However, despite these achievements, our nation has experienced the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality, exacerbated by the crippling droughts due to climate change in its post-independence history. These were followed by an unbearable global economic recession, which was compounded by the outbreak of the devastating effects of the COVID-19 epidemic. We are all aware that due to these various factors, we have been forced to curtail our goals and strategies and divert the much needed funds to deal with the prevalent crisis in an attempt to consolidate our physical stability. Fortunately, this year we have been blessed with good showers of rain, which symbolizes hope and the promise of a new dawn of renewed optimism. Indeed, Namibia is harvesting dividends for prosperity in the investment area, especially in the development of the green hydrogen and ammonia industries, as well as the recent oil and gas discoveries, which are finally bearing good returns.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with soccer news. It's the Champions League that continued with the semi-final. It is 2 Italian teams that played in the semi-final, so definitely one Italian team will be in the final, but it was a good result for Inter Milan. They played at AC Milan, and it was Inter Milan that won the game by 2-0, so definitely advantage to Inter Milan at this moment. The winner of this game will play in the final against the winner of Real Madrid against Manchester City. In the first leg that was played at Real Madrid, it was a good result for Manchester City. That game ended in a 1-1 draw. All to play for next week Wednesday. That is when Manchester City will host Real Madrid, and that will be in Manchester. Continuing international sports news with tennis news, it is the Italian Open taking place in Rome, and the first round results in the men's division is that Andy Murray of England, or Britain, is actually from Scotland. He's out of the tournament. He's a former winner of a Grand Slam tournament, and he lost to Fabio Fognini of Italy, and the score there was 6-4, 4-6 and 6-4. Also, another player from Great Britain is out of the tournament. Of course, they're playing this tournament on clay. Maybe not always the preferred surface for these players, but it's Kyle Edmonds that's out. He lost to Alex Miller in a 6-1 and 6-3. Also, good result for Wu Yebing from China, and he beat a very experienced player on clay, that is Richard Gasquet of France, and the score there was 3-6, 6-3 and 6-3 for Wu Yebing to be through to the second round. The number one seed in this tournament in the Italian Open is Novak Djokovic. He was injured for quite a while, but Novak Djokovic is back again in action and is number one seed in the tournament. The number two seed is Carlos Alcaraz. He is from Spain. In the women's draw, it is Paula Badosa of Spain. A good result for her in the first round, beating Anna Fritzen of Belgium by 4-6, 6-2 and 7-6. And then it is Sloane Stephens of the USA. She's through. She beat Nelly Podozowska of Argentina, and 6-4, 6-1 the score in that game. The number one seed for the women's division is Iga Swiatek, the world number one, and she will probably have a very good and strong competition from Aryna Sabalenka of Belarus. That is the second seed. Continuing international sports news with golf news, and it is related to the PGA, the second major of the year on the men's tour that is taking place next week. And news from the tournament is that the well-known Tiger Woods, the 15-time major champion, he will not be able to play. He's still struggling with a leg injury. He hurt his leg in a car accident, and he did play in the Masters, but he had complications in that tournament, so he's not playing in the tournament. It will be the third time in 7 years that he will miss the PGA tournament. Also in doubt for next year's or next week's PGA tournament is Jordan Spieth. Jordan Spieth, he injured his wrist and he's in doubt. He withdrew from the tournament, the PGA tournament, this week. It will be played at the Oak Hill Country Club, that is the PGA. After that, the third major of the year will be the US Open. That will be played from the 15th to the 18th of June in Los Angeles, and Tiger would indicated that he hoped to play then in the US Open. Then the British Open will also be later this year. That is the 20th of July. That will this year be played at Royal Liverpool. To conclude today's international sports news, MotoGP news, and the good news for the French Grand Prix this coming weekend on Sunday is that Marc Marquez, he is racing on a Repsol Honda. He's fit again. He had a wrist injury or hand injury that he picked up in the Portuguese Grand Prix a few weeks ago, but he's been passed fit to race in the French Grand Prix. That's Marc Marquez. He's one of multiple world champions. At the moment, the leader of the points is Francesco Bagnaia.
Now let's take a look at the highlights from today's broadcast, just in case you need a quick recap. Niger intercepts nearly 1,400 Boko Haram followers, according to the army. 9 die, 80 ill in unknown northern Kenya outbreak. World not ready yet to switch off fossil fuels, COP28 host UAE says.
All right, don't miss Africa Good Morning. We'll be back next week. Sveraj Kanaka.